Hey everybody, Enra Silver here, and this is it, the last one, episode 7 of the Void Terraformer Build Journal. And you know, it's always good to start a last episode with a dance party. So I want to thank everybody who's watched these videos. Hopefully you got something out of them, whether it was a building tip or just a chuckle, little smile to light your day. I hope that you found some sort of worth in them, because I enjoyed making them. So, in today's episode, we're going to go over spiral staircases and how I used to make them. And then I'm going to provide you with a link to a better way to do it. Then we're going to talk about domes and observation blisters, putting in the front stairs, doing interior deco. But for now, it's been a long road, and I just want to dance. Alright, let's start with the spiral staircase. First, I went around the circumference of the lab floor, placing walls on every other floor panel, one row inward from the glass doors, and then snapping another floor panel onto each wall, inward towards the center. Once this was set, I picked the floor panel directly opposite where the door was going to be, green stated a paver adjacency to a cylinder, and placed a cube below the cylinder. I then went around the circle, placing cubes one higher than the previous, until I reached a point that looked like it was higher than the blast doors. I then went back around the circle, deleting all the walls and floors, and then replacing them on the spots I'd skipped over previously. No need to go all the way around though, I stopped putting them in where the cubes from the previous set stopped. Once I had the second set of walls and floors in, starting with the floor panel to the right of the first cube, I snapped a paver, green stated a second one, adjacency to a cylinder, and then placed a cube below, giving me a cube half offset from the ones on either side. Now this is the point where I realized I needed a cube to the left of my first point so that I would have a cube down at floor level. Once I had all the cubes placed, it was time to place my pill lights. Now I played around with spacing for a bit before I settled on one that worked nicely. All the downward facing pill lights are my glitch points, and the horizontal lights are used to maintain a uniform spacing between each glitch point. Each horizontal light comes in with its bottom rib just touching the bottom rib of the previous light, and the next vertical pill light is placed with its bottom rib just touching the middle of the connector on the previous horizontal light. I glitched the first 4 separators in to see how it walked, and it flowed smooth like butter, just what I was wanting. But this ended up giving me not quite the rise I had expected, so at several points I had to drop the cubes down one. Not a big deal, everything's assigned to my scaffolding comp anyway, so it's all gonna go when I delete the comp. Still looks a little short, guess I better add in a couple more columns of cubes here. Once I had all the pill lights placed, it was time to start glitching in the separators. Now, when glitching in the separators, I used light boxes placed as far to the back side of the cubes as I could for my glitch points, and I used each box only for the cubes directly below and next to it. This made it so that when I accidentally threw a wire, no separators would go with it when I deleted it, and about 75% of the time the pill lights would even stick around too. When I had all the separators glitched in, I ran some floor panels over to check height, and it was indeed high enough. Time to start making the second floor. The second floor was made using total wire control, again like the first floor, only this time I didn't need a fourth innermost circle. I also needed the third circle to accommodate the spiral staircase so people didn't bonk their heads as they were coming up. And this is where the ubiquitous utility of total wire control was on full display. Once I got directly above the stairs, I started pulling each floor back just a little bit. A couple floors with only 6 boxes between glitch points, then a few with 5, etc., until the floors at the top of the stairs only had 2 boxes between glitch points. Would you look at that? Smooth as a baby's bottom. Alright, time to start making the dome. For the dome, I decided to use ribs made out of Olo curves, so I got a cube positioned just off a floor panel, snapped a triangle onto it, and then 2 more side to side on top of that one. I then snapped a pyramid bottom to bottom on the third one, and then 5 more side to side, with the third one being colored black so we know where the glitch points will be. I took it all the way up until the glitch point was nearly horizontal, and then moved on to the next rib. Once I had all 24 ribs completed, I went around centering a wire on each glitch point triangle that I will use to blender glitch each panel onto. The reason I did this instead of simply wire glitching each panel was at this point I hadn't ruled out further embellishments of the dome, so I wanted a glitch point for me to snap other items onto if I wanted. I ultimately decided against it as I felt it went against the whole idea of the installation as a functional frontier outpost with very little frills. Once I get all the wires placed, I do a quick save, then it's panel glitching time. After I get all the panels placed, it's time to assemble the observation blister. I start by using R1 and L1 to float windows on the edge and place them all around the circumference of the top hole. Then, using adornments, I center a pyramid on top of each window. Once I get a little ways around, the floor panels start red stating, but I simply place them outside instead of inside. Problem solved. After placing the pyramids, I then wire glitch glass panels onto the very tip of each one to give the top of the blister a slight slope. To close off the top of the blister, I float a frontage on top of a panel, place it, drop a floor panel behind it, and then use that floor panel to get a light box in the middle of the opening. I create a cross with the light boxes and then create 4 glitch points, 3 boxes from the outer ends for me to glitch floor panels onto. I make sure to place the teleporter inside before I glitch in the panels so I can still access the blister after I do. Then I glitch in the panels and float and place a roof cap on top. Final result, I like the look. We're going to go with it. After placing the other end of the teleporter to the blister on the second floor of the laboratory, it's time to put in the front stairs. Since the storms are so nasty, I wanted to leverage that a bit by using cuboid interior stairs since their lights pulse with lightning strikes. After several hours of false starts and stops, I figured out that if I center a pyramid on the floor panel, snap another one on its outer face, delete the first one, then adjacency from a lab lamp to a light panel, this will give me a light panel with the correct slope and orientation to glitch interior stairs off of. So after dropping the panel down 2 and glitching off the second one, I get a stair that's perfectly centered and merged with the floor. Here's where I make more work for myself when my brain goes, that looks cool, but wouldn't a double row look cooler? I think about it for a minute and realize that, as usual, my brain's right. So I move the first one over, glitch a second one in, and run them down to the ground, hop out, walk them, and they work just fine. Plus, you don't fall in between them. We've got a winner. Next, I head on up and decorate the observation blister. After that, I put in the doorway. I start by snapping 2 half walls on either side of the opening, and then a doorway in between them. It won't fit, but when I delete one side, put the doorway back, I can now replace that half wall. I use small panels for the roof, and they won't go in either. But if I delete the doorway, they green state just fine, and I'm able to green state the doorway back in afterwards. Why does this happen? I have no idea. NMS stands for Nothing Makes Sense. Now it's time to start partitioning off the second floor. I float my walls to get them placed how I want them, and I start by putting a room around the teleporter, and then putting walls and a doorway to one side at the top of the staircase. I'd originally placed short walls along the inner edge, but I realized they'd throw off the whole measuring process, so I deleted them and put back walls in their place. So I stacked all the walls up 3 high and then got started on making the Korvax charging stations. Now these are simply SRTs that are powered but not connected to any other SRT. Once I got walls placed in between each charging station, I went around and started decorating each one. Now, since these are going to be for Korvax, who are part of a machine hive mind, I figured each one of these stations would be identically decorated, but on the opposite side, the quarters for the biological researchers would each be different, to show the bit of individuality between the biologics. Was this really necessary? No. Would anybody notice if I hadn't just mentioned it? Probably not, but this is the way my mind works while I'm building. Once I had all the deco placed, I looked again at the teleporters and I just didn't quite like the look. So I decided I was gonna glitch 2 in on top of each other just like a teleporter bridge. Just wouldn't have them linked up to anything, just powered. So I went ahead and centered a wire, ran it to either side, and then I glitched a teleporter onto the center spot, and then again, facing the other direction, powered them both up, and I like this look much better. Now, like I mentioned, each biologic sleeping quarter was decorated slightly differently, but no groundbreaking techniques were used, just more of the same sort of deco you've seen me doing, throwing stuff down and seeing what looks good. I will say that I like the addition of the decals to the beds. It made them pop a bit more. So that's the end of my build journal, everyone. I wanted to close with a few last observations. Firstly, like I promised at the beginning, I'm linking a video right now to a tutorial by DG Squared on how to make spiral staircases. His way is better than mine in several ways. It can be done in much tighter confines and requires less glitches, which means less time spent gathering and glitching. So definitely go check that out. It's how I'll be making all my spiral staircases from here on out. Another thing is I'd considered making the entire laboratory one dome entirely made up of blast doors, but it didn't make much sense thematically to have the living areas with blast doors. But if you're interested in how you would do that, here's a quick rundown. You'd assemble the Olo curves the same way, but have the starting pyramid flush with the floor. Then instead of centering wires, you'd adjacency glitch from lab lamps to light panels, and then use the light panels to glitch each set of door and windows in. If you're curious about further how to do that, feel free to drop something in the comments or hit me up with a DM on Discord. I want to give a big shout out to all the builders and techniques mentioned in the journal. They're all linked in the description. Also, thanks to all the other builders on this colony. Brit Raptor, Gecko GT, Nuki, Cassidity, and Bahan were all phenomenal to work with. Finally, thanks to Eros Reiner, King Assassin, and all the other bridge crew with EISHUB for allowing an outsider to join their project. It was very flattering and much appreciated. I've linked the EISHUB YouTube channel in the description. Everyone needs to go check out all the other amazing bases in the colony. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed the journal, please subscribe and hit the like button, and I will talk to y'all later.